Welcome to the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series at Worldwide Technology Raceway for round 4 of the 2024 championship. And already there is a lot of drama leading up to the start of today's race. Caleb Bacon had a bad off in this morning's qualifying, but is fighting hard and helping with the rebuild to make the start of the race. Caleb, you look determined that you're going to make this race.
We're going to, that's for sure. Best qualifying of the year, we're going to make the freaking race, that's for sure.
Grid is open, and second in points, Thomas Annunziata is not quite sure if he will make the start of the race.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We've been the fastest car the whole weekend, topping each practice session, but unfortunately we have an electrical issue that's been going on, and it just got worse, and we couldn't figure it out for qualifying, so we went out for a hardship lap, tried it. It's still not quite there, so the boys are working on it hard, but I know, I have faith.
So Ben Mayer, pole position here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, it's my first time sitting on pole here, and this is my best qualifying yet, so I'm really excited to put it up front for the first time, and I think that this race is going to be really good. Just have to save my tires and try and keep it out front as long as I can, and hope to end the race in front as well.
So Rafa Matos starting second behind your teammate Ben Mayer.
We definitely feel we have a strong car for the long run. I think Ben did a fantastic job in his qualifying. Hats off to the Nitro Motorsports crew, right? Putting, sweeping the front row. I think both Brent and Thomas were also very quick in practice. Just had a little bit of bad luck in qualifying, but looking forward to, collecting some good points.
Well, teammates Ben Mayer and Rafa Matos lead the field of 19 Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series cars into the oval to take the green flag. We ride on board right now with the 2023 TA2 champion Brent Cruz, but this is his first time back with us this season. You can see he's following there right behind Boris Said Jr. with that HendrickCars.com as they get ready for the start of this Cube 3 Architecture TA2 race. And there's the green flag. Linda's waving the green flag as they race now into Cube 3, Turn 1. Rafa, Ben Mayer side by side again. Looks like everybody's coming through cleanly. You can see all that white snow and dust. That's from oil dry, from a car dropping oil down. So they come through now. Mission Foods Turn 3 and 4. Ben Mayer in the lead ahead of Rafa Matos as the train comes through. Ben Mayer actually kind of gapping Rafa Matos there. We're seeing a great field of cars as Grant Palmer pokes out, but now we're looking at Thomas Annunziata. He did make the start of the race. Hopefully those electrical gremlins have gone away as he makes 2 passes there, going around that decreasing radius turn 7 right behind the St. Louis local of Grant Palmer. But here they go by. A beautiful noise this TA2 series is. Let's take a listen. So it's Ben Mayer, Rafa Matos, Josh Hurley, Connor Mosek, as we see our timing and scoring in the left, and now we're on board with Rafa Matos, who I'm hearing has to do a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. He crossed the start-finish line before pole position Ben Mayer. So on board with Josh Hurley, but now Rafa Matos within the next probably 3 laps has to come in. With it being this early in the race, he should come in as soon as he can, because we've seen Rafa Matos come from the back of the field and move his way up. But that car just in front of Josh Hurley, currently second place, Rafa Matos is going to have to report and do a drive-through penalty in pit lane, which is going to cost him about 40 to 45 seconds to our calculations. On board with Boris Said Jr., HendrickCars.com silver hair Chevrolet Camaro. Now watch that rear view mirror. Adrian Lostovsky and Thomas Merrill touch on the fastest part of the track as Annunziata looks to the outside of Thomas Merrill, taking advantage. Both of them probably lifted a little bit there, and Thomas Annunziata makes another 2 for pass now right behind Boris Said Jr. as Ben Mayer just keeps gapping the field. Ben Mayer looks like the one to go after this weekend here at Worldwide Technology Raceway as they go over the smallest little hill of this road course. Brent Cruz behind Connor Mosack. You can see Connor Mosack kind of feathering the throttle there at the apex of turn 7. And feathering the brakes as now they come around this very difficult turn 8, a 180 now into the oval section. You can see Rafa Matos going into pit lane there. So Rafa Matos reporting to pit lane as we ride on board back with Thomas Annunziata right behind Boris Said Jr. in that HendricksCars.com. Now we're on board with Boris Said Jr. You can see that mirror, that rear camera on the back there is now Brent Cruz making a pass. Maybe can he make it stick on Connor Mosack? Gets around Connor Mosack with silver hair. Now on board with Connor Mosack going into the mission section of the track. Oh, and there's Rafa Matos serving his penalty. That's got to feel so slow going through, but Rafa Matos is clear, didn't lose a lap, and there's our leader, Ben Mayer. BOE Marine Nitro Motorsports Ford Mustang. Listen to the sound of this. So here he comes down the front straight. Josh Hurley right behind him, then Brent Cruz, then Connor Mosack, Boris Said Jr., and Thomas Annunziata just made up, I think, 6 places in these first few laps. Thomas Annunziata setting the fastest lap, and then just barely taps Boris Said Jr. there in the rear, but it looks like that nerd-focused Nitro Motorsports car of Thomas Annunziata is the fastest in the field, but can he work his way up through? Second in points, but first in points is right behind him Thomas Merrill, who's right in front of our camera car here of Adrian Lostowski. That's Thomas Merrill in the 26. So our first and second in points are battling it out right here, right in front of our eyes. And there's Rafa Matos, about a half a lap down, because there is our leader. And then Josh Hurley, Brent Cruz coming through the Cube 3 architecture turn. And then Connor Mosack, and look at that. Boris Said Jr. getting passed by Annunziata and Thomas Merrill. So the 2 leaders in points still neck and neck here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. That seems to always provide some really good Cube 3 architecture TA2 series racing. So it looks like the Nitro Motorsports crew was, what's this? Barry Bowes smoking. And oh no, that's Jim Gallagher going around. Looks like Barry Bowes might have been dropping some oil. And Jim Gallagher, the regulator by waypoint car, stops right where he should have, where his sponsors get recognized, but that's an unfortunate spin for Jim Gallagher, the regulator by waypoint Ford Mustang, who just podiumed in our Pro-Am as we see the yellow flag being displayed. Remember, this is a TA2 National and TA2 Pro-Am race, mixed classes here, and we'll get into that later, but you can see the leaders coming around to catch that Ginetta pace car that we brought to Worldwide Technology Raceway. And a yellow flag, I'm hearing from race control, to clean up the oil. Barry Bowes, we believe, blew his engine. So there they are, the leaders coming around a very slow pace car. So slow because race control's hearing of oil on the track, and we don't want anybody to go off under the pace laps. They're going to send out the crews to clean up the oil. But like I was saying, this is a Pro-Am race and a National Series race. So the drivers in the Pro-Am, Barry Bowes, and then Tom Sheehan, Jim Gallagher, Jared Odrick, and Keith Prochuk. So you can see that Toyota truck, dropping the oil dry and sweeping it as we go. The corner workers out there monitoring it, and we should be coming to green here. So we've got Ben Mayer out front, followed by Josh Hurley, Brent Cruz, Connor Mosack, Thomas Annunziata, Thomas Merrill, Boris Said Jr., Adrian Lostowski, Grant Palmer, the hometown boy, And now watch for Rafa. This couldn't have happened at a better time. We get an early penalty, but an early yellow, so look for him to really pick up a lot of places. We've seen an angry Rafa Matos can really work his way through a huge field like he did a few years ago at Road America. You can see all the dust on the camera lenses and on the windscreens of these cars from all the oil dry, and they just dropped a lot more as they come to take the green. We've got a green flag, and the cars race single file down, and it looks like the number 17 might have poked out a little bit. We're right on board with Rafa Matos, passing a few cars here, going into Cube 3, Turn 1. But there's our leader, Ben Mayer, leader of, got pole position in qualifying, did some of the fastest laps, and now leading here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. But it looks like Brent Cruz maybe starting to dial in this car like I were talking about. We're on board right now with Brent Cruz, last year's champion in TA2 Series. This is his first race back in TA2. Might take him a little bit to kind of get his feet beneath him, but looks like he is just as fast. Loving the sound of these TA2 cars as Ben Mayer leads the train down into Cube 3, Turn 1. Ooh, smoking his brakes a little bit, and Josh Hurley getting right behind him. But there's our hometown hero, Grant Palmer, BC Race Cars, Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. I was speaking to Grant earlier today, and he actually went and visited some of the children in Children's Hospital on Thursday. So we really appreciate that. But I'm going to pause so you can hear this beautiful music of Josh Hurley's car. Ben Mayer going a little bit deep into Cube 3 turn, and watch out Ben Mayer, because Josh Hurley, look at his bottom right, he looks so relaxed in that car. That car looks like it is set up really well, especially around the oval. Board now with Brent Cruz right behind Josh Hurley. But I got to say to Josh Hurley, anytime you see a driver's posture look that relaxed behind the wheel of a race car, that means they have a very good car. So BC Race Cars really hooked them up with a good car for this race. So look for him to stay up there in the front in that blue Ford Mustang, riding on board with our leader, Ben Mayer, BOE Marine Nitro Motorsports Ford Mustang. That car looks fast as well. And here is our teenage veteran, Brent Cruz, last year's champion. You have to call a champion a veteran, but he still has a few more years as a teenager, but he is a TA2 veteran as Brent Cruz. So look for him to kind of let this race come to him. But you're seeing them in that rear camera of Josh Hurley really kind of poking his nose in there to make sure Josh Hurley knows he's there. You can see the different lines in the oval. Some are going real low, some are going like basically a couple tire widths up, but looks like Brent Cruz fell back a little bit, but Josh Hurley right there, and Thomas Annunziata now right behind Connor Mosack with the Silver Hair Racing PRG Ford Mustang. It's great to have Connor Mosack back with us in TA2. And then here is Adrian Lostowski fighting the hometown hero, Grant Palmer. I was speaking to Grant Palmer's father, who actually builds internationally recognized slot cars, but from St. Louis, and Grant kind of cut his teeth racing the go-kart track that's also in the infield here with us at Worldwide Technology Raceway. But Annunziata just ducking in right under Connor Mosack. So Annunziata still looks to have the fastest car out there, but there's only about two, I'd say 1.5 ideal passing places here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and then there might be 4 iffy passing zones. But it's Ben Mayer, Josh Hurley, Brent Cruz, Connor Mosack, Thomas Annunziata, Thomas Merrill, Boris Said Jr., Grant Palmer, Adrian Lostowski, and then Caleb Bacon somehow making it work back there. We saw Caleb Bacon, car parts everywhere, just less than an hour ago underneath the car working on it. Got to give it up to them, but Adrian Lostowski on board with a great sounding car. And again, Annunziata, same place, that kind of decreasing radius of turn 7, right behind Connor Mosack, trying to make Connor drive in his mirrors. And then he's got to know that Thomas Merrill, TA2 champion, right behind him, and the current points leader. Thomas Annunziata second in points, and then Rafa Matos right behind them, third in points. Caleb Bacon fifth in points, and Josh Hurley sixth in points. So we've got top points, and look out for that trash bag right there. That debris could, if that gets in front of somebody's radiator, that could ruin their race. And look at that, Palmer going, drifting into Cube 3. Architecture turn 1. Looks like he's got it underneath him again, but going in a little bit too hot is Grant Palmer, but making a great recovery, because that's what we saw catch out Caleb Bacon in qualifying. As they go through that Bennett Bridge Hall section here, turn 5 and 6. And then look at this, ladies and gentlemen, like a shark is Rafa Matos right behind Tom Sheehan. Rafa Matos trying to make it up, already in 12th position. Ducking in right behind Sheehan. Oh, may have turned Sheehan, not sure. I don't think they touched. But now Tom Sheehan, who is currently doing really well in the Pro-Am, Vixen Motorcycle LTK Insulation, our Iron Man of the series, Tom Sheehan, more TA2 starts than anybody in the field, got turned around, but able to make a recovery and keep it off the wall. So nice job from Tom Sheehan and that Vixen Cycle LTK Installations. And now there's Josh Hurley. Okay, the field is spreading out just a little bit there. And Adrian Lostowski around Grant Palmer. Now we ride on board with Grant Palmer, BC Race Cars, Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. I was speaking earlier that he went and visited the Children's Hospital Thursday and met some of the kids, and that meant so much to Grant Palmer and his family, as it did the Children's Hospital, and we really appreciate that with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Those are the kind of heroes we're looking for, Grant. Incidentally, Grant is looking for some support and some sponsorships in the series this year, so reach out to Grant Palmer and BC Race Cars. We'd love to see him in the series. He did this race last year, and this is his only race so far with us this year. But I think some people are going to come through for Grant Palmer when they see his talent. On board with Brent Cruz. You can see Brent a little bit faster there, which is astounding to me because Josh Hurley is one of our most technical drivers that we have in this series, but in drives with finesse. But Brent Cruz showing us that he can drive these behemoth muscle cars with finesse, and that is a skill to learn if you want to be on the top step of a TA2 series car or win a championship like Mr. Cruz did. Now coming up on Jared Odrick in our Pro-Am as lap traffic. So how can Ben Mayer navigate this? This is kind of the first big test of Ben Mayer as Jared Odrick does the right thing, goes way outside. Jared Odrick, new to the series, Black Underwear, Kang's Korean Beef Jerky, and CB Motorsports. Black Underwear is actually his Penn State roommate on the football team, started Black Underwear. So if you want some comfortable underwear, go check out Black Underwear. But there's Jared Odrick, first-round draft pick of the Miami Dolphins, got out of the NFL and still wanted to be competitive. So there he is in a TA2 car, and he's got second and third right behind him. Brent Cruz trying to guess where that 81 of Jared Odrick is going. Josh Hurley right behind him, so it looks like he's giving him the space to come around, but no, he closes the door on Josh Hurley. Josh Hurley gets a little bit sideways. Brent Cruz just waiting to see what's going to happen right behind, and now Jared Odrick kind of opening the door, letting him pass, doing the right thing. But how cool is that, ladies and gentlemen? TA2 Racing, the Pro-Am and the National Series going at it here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. And Josh Hurley doing a really good job of not putting both of them into the wall. And what is this? Jim Gallagher going counter race through the infield. And that regulator waypoint, not sure what's happening there. Hopefully everybody can see him. There is a local yellow there, backing up just a little bit to get off the surface. It looks like he went long into turn 8 and then just went through the grass to try to turn it around on the grass. It did rain here the last couple of days, and if you go into some of that grass, it becomes a swamp and will go above your shoes. So maybe just trying to stay out of the swamp is Jim Gallagher. As we ride on board now, the rear-looking camera of Josh Hurley. There's that local yellow, and Jim Gallagher able to restart it, but looks like he's got some front splitter damage, so that may be the end of the day for Jim Gallagher, who's doing really well in our Pro-Am points. Look at this gap now. Because of that lap traffic that Ben Mayer is able to get on Josh Hurley and Brent Cruz, and now the next part of the field is coming up on the lap traffic as Jared Odrick right behind Boris Said Jr. I'm sorry, Adrian Lostowski right behind Boris Said Jr. Jared Odrick is the traffic right there, right ahead of Connor Mosack, Thomas Annunziata, Thomas Merrill. Now watch for Thomas Merrill to look for something really good here to see if he can get some kind of a pick set. Thomas Merrill really good at working his way through mixed class racing with all of his experience. Was on the podium at Le Mans just a few years ago, so he knows what he's doing with this mixed class racing. But Jared Odrick getting over, letting all three pass in that Black Underwear Kang's Korean Beef Jerky car. But Jared Odrick, welcome to the series. So happy to have you here. There's the gap. Ben Mayer up ahead. Then Josh Hurley and Brent Cruz. Look at this. We're on board with Brent Cruz looking a little bit better onto the brakes, into the Cube 3 architecture. Turn 1 makes a pass on Josh Hurley. Can he make it stick? Coming out to the Mission Foods exit of turn 2, and he does. So now we ride on board with Josh Hurley right behind Brent Cruz, now third place. Brent Cruz jumping the curbs a little bit, but picking up right where he left off last season. I would say he's back in the thick of it and loving these TA2 cars again. But Rafa Matos right there behind Palmer, and there's the pass. Thomas Annunziata over Connor Mosack. So Thomas Annunziata moving his way through the field as we ride on board with Connor Mosack, Silver Hair Racing. Thomas Annunziata with his dad's friend's company, Eat Clean, bro. And if you know Thomas Annunziata, that's the way he speaks, but that is his dad's friend's company, Eat Clean, bro, teaching everybody how to eat clean on the back of his car there. And Annunziata already gapping Mosack, and Brent Cruz kind of already gapping Josh Hurley. But Merrill right behind Mosack, Caleb Bacon, and then there's Rafa Matos getting around Grant Palmer. So Matos working his way through the field back up into the top 10, currently in 10th position according to the scoring there on our left side. Actually in 9th position because he made that pass on Palmer after the start-finish line. Been really impressed though in the 2 outings that we've had with Grant Palmer. Wish he could race in the series a little bit more with us as we look there at Thomas Merrill, HP Tuners, Mike Cope Race Cars, our 2022 champion. Connor Mosack the last couple seasons has been right there in the top 3 of the championship standings, but just can't make it happen. Staying a little bit high there on the oval right behind Thomas Merrill. And there's Ben Mayer, just the class of the field, BOE Marine. Look at that gap he's got on teammate Brent Cruz, then Josh Hurley, then Thomas Annunziata, Thomas Merrill, Connor Mosack, Caleb Bacon, Borised Jr. I'm sorry, that wasn't Caleb Bacon, that was Jared Odrick. My fault, those two teammates do look alike. So that's Jared Odrick there between Borised and Adrian Lostowski. But watch out, you've got Rafa Matos right behind you, Adrian, in that number 3. That's such a difficult turn there, that long carousel, the beginning of turn 6 to 7, and then a very decreasing radius at the apex of turn 7. Uh-oh, what's this? Thomas Annunziata, I don't know if he missed a shift or is losing power. I wish our cameraman could keep the camera steady, but it looks like he's back on the power there, so I'm not sure what's happening. Hopefully that's not the electrical gremlins that he was complaining about in practice and qualifying, as Lostowski looks outside of Jared Odrick, as does Rafa Matos, going 3 wide into Cube 3, turn 1. Not suggested. Rafa Matos takes the inside from Adrian Lostowski and makes that pass. So now Rafa Matos currently 8th, and you can see the blue flags from our corner workers. We appreciate that, corner workers here. On board with Adrian Lostowski. CMI Spot On Services Ford Mustang. Now here's the gaps. There goes Ben Mayer. Looks like about 4.8 seconds, and Josh Hurley. Then Thomas Merrill, Connor Mosack, Thomas Annunziata lost 2 places that last lap. Borised Jr. and Rafa Matos. So Thomas Annunziata looks like he's slowing down again. Oh, oh no, look at that. The worst possible place, because he just passed pit in to come into the pits. He's never going to be able to make it back around. So unfortunately, I don't know what Thomas Annunziata is going to do here. He can't go around turn 1 because it's a blind Cube 3 turn 1, and wisely parks it where he can make himself very visible. But you can see Linda getting out that yellow flag for a full course caution. So a couple laps under pace, and now they're back to the pace car. Hopefully they're going to be coming to green, but it's Ben Mayer, Brent Cruz, Josh Hurley, Thomas Merrill, Connor Mosack, Borised, Rafa Matos, Andrea Lostowski, Grant Palmer, Jake Drew, Keith Prochek, Jared Odrick, but Jared is a lap down. But here they come to the green. Ooh, a late green from Linda. I love that. I love when our starters give a late green. They have to come to a restart single file. Brent Cruz right behind Ben Mayer coming through Cube 3 Architect. Keith Prochek into the wall, hard into the wall. There goes Caleb Bacon, and oh no, that's Finch. That hits, I'm already hearing double yellow from Tim Richter in race control. That quickly, you can see the corner worker scrambling to get it out. Emergency vehicles, that was a really hard hit at Keith Prochek. Currently doing really well. Here's a replay from Keith Prochek's car. Let's see what happens to his HP Tuners Cope race cars. Coming into 1, and looks like, oh, I can't tell if he got hit there, but oh man, he backed into that tire wall that comes to a corner. Able to restart. Okay, so here's Caleb Bacon. We'll see if there was a touch. Oh yeah, just enough of a touch when he had left input. Watch this. Oh gosh, the worst place to hit. And then I think Caleb Bacon hit the tire wall, made the tire wall come onto the track that Finch hit. So you can see Caleb Bacon behind. Look at this, it forces out the tire wall, and then Finch doing what he can do. But Jake Finch right here on board can't do anything and just hits that tire wall. And those tire walls are heavy, ladies and gentlemen, doing a lot of damage. But what is this? Keith Prochek back on track. after that huge hit. You can see they're going left to right, make sure the car is okay. There's no way after that hit that Keith Prochek can continue racing. Maybe he's just trying to make it into pit lane. You can see that rear end body damage. I'm hearing from race control that it actually took a chunk out of the concrete wall. So that just speaks really highly of Mike Cope and Mike Cope race cars, that he was able to come out of that still rolling. Wow, unbelievable. He took a large chunk out of the concrete, and the crew had to spend about 5-10 minutes repairing that wall. But here we come to another green flag. Another late green here as Ben Mayer leads the field. That's got to be nerve-wracking for Ben Mayer, who has never won a TA2 race, to be leading a field and then to have the likes of Brent Cruz and Rafa Matos digging in side by side there with Connor Mosack, not giving an inch either one of these drivers. Rafa Matos has the advantage here through the Mission Food section, and there he goes, that Concord American flagpole over Connor Mosack side by side in through 1 and 2. Rafa Matos using these restarts to his advantage. I'm seeing a debris flag there, not sure what that is for. Oh, there it is, a pylon right in the middle of the track. Both drivers doing a very good job of missing that, but we're now on board with Brent Cruz trying to catch Ben Mayer. Ben Mayer doing such a great job with these restarts. Ben Mayer, just the last couple of races, we had a great performance from him at NOLA, really showing us what he's got. He is going to be on the top step soon, going through, but we're side by side. Brent Cruz on the left, Ben Mayer on the right. I'm going to stay silent for a while so we can listen to this music. Unbelievable. You can see that those cars seem to be equally yoked, both Nitro Motorsports cars, and both drivers handling really well. There's Josh Hurley in the blue car, and then Thomas Merrill right behind him, Rafa Matos right behind him, Connor Mosack, Boris said Jr. The field is closing up, and Thomas Annunziata restarted. So Thomas Annunziata might have to march back through the field. Looks like it was just another electrical gremlin. That's got to be so frustrating, because now Annunziata several laps down, but points are so important, as we've seen in years past in the TA2 series. So we ride on board with Boris Said Jr. On board with Adrian Laskowski, right behind Boris Said Jr. Look at this, getting a better run, the slingshot, shake and bake. Adrian Laskowski over Boris Said Jr. there. What a pass. And you can see Thomas Annunziata looking outside as they come to the exit of turn 2 here. Coming into the Mission Foods, turn 3 and 4. Brent Cruz right behind Ben Mayer. Looks like Brent Cruz may have found some speed here as we ride on board with that FranklinRoad.com car of Brent Cruz. Can Ben Mayer keep his cool with Brent Cruz right behind him, last year's champion? There's Rafa Matos, another Nitro teammate, so it's been a good day for Nitro so far. 3 out of the top 5. Thomas Annunziata having some struggles, but 3 in the top 5 is going to make Nick Tucker pretty happy. Speaking of Nick Tucker, he started Ben Mayer started racing nationally at the age of 5 and was taken in by Nick Tucker at age 6. Ben and Brent, these are two of Nick Tucker's teammates, the first drivers in Nitro Kart. I think both started racing with Nick Tucker at 6, so these are very good friends. They know each other very well, but neither one of them wants to take second place to the other. So that's Ben Mayer out front, as he's been all afternoon, in fact all weekend here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. What does Brent Cruz have for him as he goes a little wide there into turn 8? Our cameraman really struggling to keep the camera steady up there as we see somebody coming in to the pits. Looks like that's Jake Finch. Maybe the damage from hitting that tire wall. Yeah, Jake Finch with Team SLR happened to come into the pits, and the two leaders kind of gapping Josh Hurley there. And Annunziata around Jake Drew. Jake Drew wisely lets him by, and that's not his battle. Annunziata's several laps behind. So we ride on board with Eric Caton. Eric Caton, new to the series, but one of our stalwarts in the National, sponsored by Ray Skillman Auto, and they're in the Indianapolis area, just south of Indianapolis. So if you support motorsports, the TA2 series, Eric Caton works for Ray Skillman. They're a full-time sponsor. Please go buy a Chevy, Ford, GMC, Hyundai, Kia from Ray Skillman, and you'll be supporting the Trans Am series as well as Eric Caton as we ride on board now with Caleb Bacon. We saw him working on his own car, diligently working, and it looks like the car is working flawlessly. Caleb Bacon, so great. The Chad Bacon Motorsports, Caleb Bacon himself working on the car, and I was talking to his crew. They don't mind. It's rare that the crews let the drivers work on the cars, but Caleb Bacon is a good wrench, and they love it. And what a way to endear yourself to your crew and your mechanics when you're down there wrenching on the car as well. So it's cool to see Caleb Bacon doing that. But let's ride on board right now with Rafa Matos, two-time TA2 champion. We were talking about the importance of points, and just in 2022, these two right here were tied for points. Rafa Matos, Thomas Merrill. And Thomas Merrill, because he had more wins in the season, won the championship. So every little point counts. So Nitro sending Annunziata back out there when he's just second in points is the smart move. Every point counts. You never give up in TA2. As we're seeing here with Rafa Matos. Rafa Matos got sent through to do a penalty, and then calmly and methodically has worked his way back up to the top 5. But he's got 4 really good drivers to get around to make it to the top step. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment what you like from this race, what you don't like. If you want the commentator to be quiet a little bit more so you can hear this beautiful music, I agree wholeheartedly with you. So it's Ben Mayer, Brent Cruz, Josh Hurley, Thomas Merrill, Rafa Matos, Connor Mosak, Adrian Lostowski, Boris Ed Jr., and Grant Palmer. Grant Palmer doing so well. We're coming to the closing stages of this race, and it looks like this is the race. Back on board with Eric Caton, Ray Skillman Auto Group. Ray Skillman is who you want to buy your car from to support the Trans Am Series and Eric Caton. But Eric Caton now right behind Caleb Bacon and Tom Sheehan. Tom Sheehan currently the leader in the Pro-Am Series here in TA2 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. So even though we had a spin, we might have a spin and win here from Tom Sheehan. That cone you can see there is still on the right. And there's that beautiful car of Eric Caton. Tom Sheehan able to gap Caleb Bacon, but that seems to be the race to watch here. Can Tom Sheehan hold on to that top step in Pro-Am, as it looks like Rafa Matos might have kicked a few cones off there to the right and make a little more room for himself on the exit of that turn. And Rafa Matos and Thomas Merrill, two of our longest running champion veterans in the series. Let's listen to Rafa's car. Concord American Flagpole Company. It's great to have them on board. Of course, Rafa Matos, one of our PMH Diversity Scholarship recipients, and now there is Connor Mosack kind of closing that gap behind Rafa Matos. Let's see what Connor can do. You know, we've seen Connor Mosack in the Xfinity Series and the ARCA Menard Series. He's probably a little bit more experienced with these ovals, but again, stock car racer in Brazil, Rafa Matos, he's done some stock car racing in Brazil and late model, so he knows this pretty well too. Rafa Matos' car looking a little bit loose there, as we can see from Connor Mosack's view. Thomas Merrill looks pretty firmly planted. Unfortunately, Thomas's in-car camera didn't work, so we don't get to go to that camera here. But we're right on board. Look at this. Rafa Matos doing everything he can to shake that HP Tuners car of Thomas Merrill. So our shaky cameraman is showing us the gap. Big gap there to Ben Mayer, who's currently in the lead and has been in the lead all weekend long. Let's ride on Ben Mayer, the class of the field, Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series this weekend. Mayer looks comfortable behind the wheel. Let's look at Brent Cruz. Watch his bottom right. Watch how he looks to be a little bit more fighting the wheel. I don't know if his tire degradation happened a little bit more, but doesn't look as comfortable as Ben Mayer. But again, this is his first time in a TA2 car this season. He meant to go to Sebring with us and run in TA and TA2, but I think he fell ill. Didn't get to make that, so it's so cool to have Brent Cruz back in the series. Love seeing what he's doing in the other series he's running with. He's going to dominate in anything he goes to. And there's that Ray Skillman car of Eric Caton right behind Caleb Bacon and Tom Sheehan. This seems to be kind of the fight right here. On board with Eric Caton. Listen to that. Listen how they have to feather the throttle there around that oval. Not quite enough banking to be flat out. Eric Caton seems to have the better car under him, but just does he have enough to get around these two? I'm not sure. Looks like Sheehan in the orange car and Caleb are sliding around a little bit more than Eric Caton. Eric looks like he can put the car wherever he wants. There's that cone, but just can't seem to get around him. So we go back to our leaders and look at, ooh, Brent Cruz smoking his left front tire, really trying to get up to that. Everybody knows now we're late in the race. It's a little bit more spread out. I'm sure their teams are saying go for it. No more saving the cars. So let's see what Ben Mayer has left in him. Can he win his first TA2 Series race? Or is that unfortunate incident that happened at NOLA going to happen? He was going to have his first podium at NOLA and then I think lost his transmission with one lap left. I'm sure that's rattling around in the back of his mind. I'm sure every little noise, every little vibration is really getting to him, knowing he's in the late stages of this race. But man, he's been the class of the field. Let's see if the BOE Marine machine of Ben Mayer can do it. Because of all the cautions, we're now at a timed race, so none of the drivers really quite know when that white flag is going to come out. As do I have no idea. But we've got on board with Rafa Matos. Looking at Brent Cruz, they're using all the curbing. This car hops up over that hill, and then there is Rafa Matos on board. Trying every different line to see if he can catch Thomas Merrill. But Thomas Merrill in that HP Tuners car just looks to be hooked up with Mike Cope Racing. Back on board with Rafa. Ooh, there's the white flag from Linda. Ben Mayer has the white flag. 1 lap left for Ben Mayer's first podium, first win after his first pole in the TA2 series. But this is the battle to watch. Can Rafa make up one more place? Costing Thomas Merrill some points. Thomas Merrill tried to defend his points lead, knowing that Thomas Annunziata is going to fall way back. But Rafa Matos being third in points, it's really... Thomas Merrill's really got to hold that position, but let's ride on board with Ben Mayer. Come on, Ben. Will that thing home? A few corners left. Can he keep Brent Cruz behind him? Can he keep his focus? The exit of this turn, and then it's kind of smooth sailing as he goes through his gears. For Ben Mayer, we may be witnessing history here, ladies and gentlemen. This could be Ben Mayer's first Cube 3 Architecture TA2 Series win as he comes down, drops it into the tallest gear, and takes the checkered flag as Ben Mayer, Brent Cruz in second, Josh Hurley third, Thomas Merrill fourth, Rafa Matos fifth, Connor Mosak sixth, Adrian Lostowski lucky number 7, Boris Head Jr. with a good race in 8th, Thomas Annunziata, of course, saving points, but a few laps back. Grant Palmer, top 10 finish for Grant Palmer. Way to go, Grant Palmer in BC race cars. And then Jake Drew with silver hair. Jake Drew moving up the field in TA2 also. And look at this, Tom Sheehan and Caleb Bacon, Eric Caton. What a race. Congratulations to Ben Mayer. Jared Odrick, I'm hearing now is second in the Pro-Am, and then somehow, look at that, Keith Prochuk finishes the race and is third in Pro-Am. Let's go down and talk to the drivers.
Woo, Batman! Hello, buddy!
I told you you'd do it, buddy. I told you it was your weekend. Awesome job. Awesome job. How about that shit? Hell of a job, dude. Hell of a job. All day long. All weekend long.
Good job.
Good job.
Hey, these are my first 2 kids I started working with right here. Really? Yep, my first 2 in 2016. 1 and 2 here, so I couldn't be more proud of them. Hell of a job, buddy.
Take that damn helmet off and show your face.
So Brent, you kind of disappear here for a little bit, and then you come back, and all of a sudden Ben Mayer's the one to beat. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, just super grateful to have a fast nitro. Motorsports number 70 from Franklin Art Apparel. If I wanted to get beat by anybody, it would be him, right? So I'm glad we could have a Nitro Motorsports top 2. That's what we came here for, and looking to be 1 spot better, but I'm happy and glad a teammate got it done.
About 3/4 of the way through the race, coming through this back section, it looks like your car just got looser and looser. Is that kind of what happened, just losing tires?
Yeah, I think that's just how it is with the tire fall off, right? So that's just how it works, right? So I think our main issue is just the last 2 corners, getting onto the straightaway, and we'll work on that when we come back here next year. And super grateful to be here in Victory Lane, even though we're not the winner.
Ben Mayer, P1. After NOLA, this has got to feel good.
Yeah, NOLA was not the greatest event. I was running third and just couldn't finish the race, but this feels amazing. This is my first big win in one of these cars, and even my first podium in one of these cars, so this is amazing. I just kept having my spotter, and they were telling me, oh, Brent's however far back, so the whole half of the race I was just relying on my spotter to tell me where he was and just trying to run as fast as I could.
So you win pole, you win the race, and you get the fastest lap. That's kind of like a motorsports hat trick right there.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I didn't even know I had the fastest lap. I was just trying to finish the race and first, That's what everyone does.
So Jimmy live on the scene, throwing ice cold water on you. That's gonna feel pretty good?
Yeah, it definitely feels really good. I didn't have my cool suit because it just wouldn't reach. It was a weird deal. But that actually felt pretty good.
Hey, so I'm talking to Brad Parrott right now. I know you want to holler out at him. He prepared this car for you, but Ron did a great job. Ron Otto kept it going all week, but poor Brad wasn't able to be here. And I told him the other day you were going to win without him here.
Yeah.
And once again, Jimmy Live was right.
Yeah, Brad set up this car so well, and I'm so grateful for that. And Ron kept it running the rest of the weekend while it was
Dude, you
set up
did
from
an
him.
awesome
So.
part yourself.
So
You got to take some of the credit.
Does that mean Brad can't come to any races? Because maybe that was
Oh,
the deal?
we got to talk to Ron about that. Hey, so that means Ron goes up on the wall before the other Brad.
Hey, Ben, nice job, man. That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Josh Hurley, get by your car, man. Absolutely. We got time. Dude, what a race. You had two of the Cube 3 Architecture TA2 veterans behind you in Merrill and Rafa, and then you had these two in front of you. That had to be quite a sandwich.
It was quite a sandwich. It's great, just like qualifying. I'm a little frustrated with P3. We got with a lap car. Not his fault, but when I was trying to get by him, we had a giant slide. I can't wait for the footage for the viewers at home because we had smoke coming off all four tires, so that'll be a great shot for everybody. But that really dinged the right rear tire, so that put me in survival mode for a while until we got those full course yellows. Then I was able to attack, but I just couldn't quite get close enough. But these BC race car guys, what a difference we've had from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. We just keep working at it and developing the car. And now we're here on our first podium together. We're gonna get a few more spots next time. Gotta thank Greenlight Simulation. Just so you know what that is, for you kids who want to learn to drive on the street, we teach kids to drive on the street. So not racing sim, but we take racing sim technology and engrave it for street cars.
Tom Sheehan, top in Pro-Am here. You had a little bit of a spin that I don't think was your fault there at 7, and you were able to make it back.
Yeah, it was. We got fired off pretty good thanks to the guys in my coat. They gave us a great car. It was good out of the trailer all weekend, and we just we had pretty good, decent speed all weekend and pretty consistent. And the race was kind of coming to us, and we were just kind of riding there, and it wasn't hard. It was, I'm sure, just a spot where my car's super light, and just didn't work out. But we fought back. The race came back to us with the cautions, and we had pretty good speed, and we just ended up winning the thing.
Shout out to some Vixen cycles.
Yeah, absolutely. LTK. Thank you to all the people at LTK, and thanks to all the people at Vixen Motorcycles. And they went live with a bunch of products this weekend, so they'll be pretty excited. And it's all good stuff. Springtime in the Northeast, we're heading to Lime Rock. Looking forward to that, home track. And the motorcycles are back out on the road, so keep an eye on your mirrors, people.
Thank you. Jared Odrick, a man that knows a few things about fights, but man, this whole weekend has been quite a fight. From your first session of the weekend was super rough, and then you just kept slogging and slogging out there, and you were, third at NOLA in the Pro-Am, and now you're second. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, you're inching along. We're making progress. This weekend wasn't easy. Both of our cars got into a little bit of the wall here, just trying to push the limits during practice and qualifying. Shout out to Chad Bacon Motorsports for getting us back on track. They were here all night, and then this morning putting together Caleb's car. It was amazing what they did. We fed them local St. Louis barbecue, right? So they were fueled up, ready to go, and we were able to hang in there. So it was, it was a hard-fought battle, and got hot again. And there's a lot of elements out there with the, the dry chalk, and so we all fought through it. I'm happy with it.
bacon crew. That was unbelievable. Knowing what you guys had to go through this weekend. But speaking of that, Keith Prochek, what in the world? Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the other HB Tuners car came in a little bit better, but when you're driving with your flap out like this, that's causing a little bit of drag. But here, come over here, Keith. Third in the Pro-Am, and man, that had to be hard fought. You had a pretty bad off there at 1.
Yeah, I mean, I had a fantastic start. I picked up, I think, 3 or 4 positions. Ended up first in class there halfway through the race, and felt really good, was managing the pace. On the restart, I mean, quite frankly, I just got taken out. It was a pretty bad hit. I didn't think the car would go again, so I kind of just waited, but if I got going again, I think I actually would have stayed on the lead lap and would have had maybe something for Tom. But yeah, it was a fun race, very exhausting, certainly a race of attrition. Tires management is a big thing here, but congrats to Tom and Jared. They did a fantastic job, and yeah.
So I'm with Middleton, Architecture TA2 Series. Not really the race we wanted. A lot of pace car laps led, but it was an exciting race.
It was an exciting race, and as I said from day one, turn number 1 was going to be one of the critical corners. It was. Q3 corner, definitely. But I'm so happy for Ben. Got on the podium after the issues that he had at down in New Orleans, leading the race, or pretty much leading the race and not finishing. I'm so happy for the young kid at 15. Hell of a weekend. We look forward to the next race and seeing if he can podium again.
Perfect. Thank you very much.